Maybe will. Yeah.
What's the name of your town?
My name is Benny, brother.
What's the
Benny.
name? What's the name of your town?
What?
Where do
Pardon?
you
Can
where do
you?
you where do you live?
I
Solo,
live
Solo.
in Solo. Solo is the small town in Central Java at Indonesia.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Can yes. I can hear your voice.
Okay.
Yes. Your voice is very clear. I can hear. Mhm. Thank
Okay.
you for join with us.
All right.
From Association Theosophical Society at Indonesia,
Yeah.
brother.
Thank you very much.
Yes, from warm regard from for you from Indonesia.
Okay.
Maybe sometime you can visit Indonesia. I will with Sister Johanna will accompany you in. You can go every place in Indonesia. Okay, brother. Mm.
It's a
Thank you.
wonderful invitation. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. I will
So
become your translator and be your moderator, brother.
so I
Mm.
speak one sentence and then you translate, okay?
Okay, no problem. Mm.
Hello, Johanna. Can I if you
Johan,
Hello,
test?
sister.
Hello,
hello, Ari.
hello.
I not open camera because
Okay.
I'm body no
Okay.
good. Okay.
Yeah,
It's all
he
right.
is. The
Okay.
body is not well. Is have
Okay. That's okay.
the winter in Indonesia is raining, so the he health is sick lah, sick, not
Oh,
well.
yes,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same in the Philippines. In the Philippines
yeah.
also, Dr.
Is
Rosel.
yes.
Sa
Yeah.
influenza
Indonesia is ya. Gimana, Mbak Yo?
influenza virus.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
influenza. It's
yeah.
happening in Philippines.
He get sick.
Philippines, in India. It's very careful we have to be.
Where do you live, brother? At India.
I live in Mumbai in India.
Oh,
It's a big
Mumbai.
city. Big city.
Oh, big city. Yeah, yeah. I ever see a film as Hotel Mumbai.
Okay.
Hotel Mumbai. I have the film is like yeah, it's very interesting. I watch the film is like a terrorist. The title is Hotel Mumbai.
Oh, I have not seen that film.
Oh yeah, no, I see. Okay.
Johanna,
Maybe
can I screen share and try
Bayo.
screen share?
He
Yeah.
Apa?
what?
Can I have you made me the co-host?
Oh iya, dia mau jadi co-host.
Okay.
Mau
Can
Okay.
I?
mau jadi co-host biar dia bisa tampilkan
Ready.
Oh,
materinya.
yeah. Okay.
Oke.
We're
You know
okay.
close. Okay.
Oh, no, we're okay.
Yeah.
Just a minute.
Okay.
Now it's okay.
Oke.
Full screen. Full screen.
Full
So
screen.
so
Full.
we wait for another
Yeah, another
10 minutes. 5:30.
okay.
It's okay.
7 o'clock.
Yeah,
We
7 o'clock.
we can begin at 7 o'clock. The other participant can be join with us.
Oh, yes. I'm very glad to hear Bahasa Indonesia because
Yeah,
before in Radio Nederland,
yeah.
they teach Dutch on the radio many years before.
Yes.
Okay, and
Do
they
you ever
also
visit? Do you ever visit Indonesia, brother?
no, I have not. Many of my friends go to Bali. Bali is a
Oh,
beautiful.
Bali. Yeah. I
Yeah,
see.
many of my friends go,
Yeah, maybe
but
someday, or sometime you can
yes,
visit Indonesia.
it's a wonderful
Yeah,
opportunity. And
yeah,
Indonesia is also is very close to India because the language Bahasa
yes,
is very close to my language, Sanskrit.
yes.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah. So it's easy for you to understand the Patanjali.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
Yoga Sutra Patanjali.
yeah.
We in Indonesia, yeah, study that. Our Theosophical Association at Indonesia every week we study about Patanjali. You bring it. Once again, I represent of Society of Theosophical Association. We very grateful and deep honorable. You willing join with us and get can bring this study for us. I say once again, thank you for you, brother.
I'm very happy also, Benny,
Yeah, yeah.
because I think Indonesia is the 10th country I speak. 10th country
Okay.
on the Theosophy. Because
Yes.
after Zoom, many countries we can visit on Zoom. Yeah.
Mumbai and Adyar, the distance is very far. Is
Yes,
far, brother.
2 hours by flight. 2 hours by flight.
Oh, 2 hours. By plane. By
by,
plane.
by plane. But I
Okay.
also stay. I think Johanna will read my bio. She will read, which you can translate.
Yes.
Johanna,
Yes.
can you do
Yeah.
that to introduce?
Mbak Yo,
Yeah,
or
she
maybe
have.
he's still inviting other participants to join us
Oh, okay,
because
okay.
it's the this event we spread other not is what's name that
Many
not
lodge.
many lots many lots
Okay,
many
wonderful.
lots will be joined with us
So how many lodge in Indonesia?
uh approach is 12 brother.
Oh, it's
12
good.
love is Indonesia. Yes.
And also very happy to see many young
Yeah.
people, young people member in Indonesia.
Yes. Yes. Uh-uh. Dimai Stephen Patanjali.
Yes, it's a very important topic because people are afraid
Yes.
it's complicated.
Yes.
No complicated. It's simple. Simple.
Hmm. This is yes one very important our curriculum in Theosophy Association Indonesia. Yes.
Yes.
Before the new apa itu anggota itu apa? The new
You
participant join us Theosophy. This
okay?
material is first we can give to the new
Yeah.
the new
Oh,
student lah. Yeah.
it's important because once
Yeah.
you teach Patanjali, you teach Theosophy easy,
Yes.
very
The new mem.
easy to
Yeah.
understand. Yeah,
Yeah. It's very important. That's true.
yeah.
I agree with it.
So Blavatsky Lodge is in very old Mumbai city.
Yes. Mumbai or 2 hours from Mumbai to Adyar is 2 hours.
2 hours
Yeah, to Adyar.
by
Maybe
flight. By flight.
we yeah flight by flight. Maybe someday we can
Yes.
go to Mumbai,
You
brother.
must also go to Adyar because in December they have every year
Yes.
youth conference,
Yes.
and it's not very expensive to stay in Adyar. It's a beautiful
Mhm.
place. So this
Yes.
time we have five students from Singapore.
Oh, Singapore. Singapore first plan, and after that go to New Delhi. Yes, New
No,
Delhi.
no, you have I think Bali to Chennai. There is flight to Adyar. I think
Okay.
Bali to Air Asia. Air Asia has
And
got
Asia, yes, the plan.
from Bali or
Every
Jakarta. You can come to Chennai Adyar.
They are okay.
Yeah. So you
Okay, thank you for it.
you can plan next year because 150 years of
Okay.
next year you have to make a booking before because many
Yes.
people come from different city in the world.
Yeah.
So you can plan together, Johanna, yourself, and all young
Yes. Thank
people.
you.
It's a good
Mm.
1 year, December 2025.
2025. Yes.
150 years of Theosophical Society.
Yes. Wait a minute, brother. Yeah, maybe we can start. Yeah, about
10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We can start. Other member we can join. We can start begin.
Okay.
Okay. Wait a minute. Mbak Yo.
Ya, ini ada Pak Darmana. Nanti mungkin Pak Darmana bisa memberi sambutan, Pak Darmana. Boleh pakai bahasa Indonesia atau bahasa Inggris langsung juga boleh, Pak Darmana, jika berkenan.
Ya.
Pak Darmana, ya bisa mendengar?
Ya.
Ya,
Ya.
bisa, baik. Ya, nanti dimulai jam 19.00 tepat ya. Masih kurang 3 menit.
Yeah.
Ya.
Okay, Brother Arnie. Before we start our study, before that we can listen our senior Theosophical Society at Indonesia. His name is Brother Darmana Lianta. He can give our opening speech lah, and he can open the before we uh, begin this event. Prayer invocation theosophy. Mungkin Pak Darmana mungkin bisa kasih kata sambutan sama nanti sekaligus membuka acara Pak Darmana ya, dan memberikan apa tuh, membacakan invokasi Pak Darmana. Mohon izin.
Ya, baik. Good afternoon, Brother Arnie.
Brother Arnie.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
What time is it there?
It is 5:30 p.m.
5:20. Oh, yeah.
1 hour 30 minutes little late.
Later. Okay. How is the society in Mumbai?
Is very busy and active.
Uh-huh.
Very busy, active. We have many guests from abroad.
Yeah.
To visit Bombay when they go to Adyar on the way.
Okay. And how many members?
In my lodge, 83.
83. Okay.
In my lodge, and also many lodge in Mumbai, maybe around 200 in the city, but my lodge maximum.
Oh, yes. Oh, many lodges in Mumbai.
Yeah, there are about six in the city.
Okay. And there are talks each week or
yes,
each month?
I give a talk on Tuesday every week.
Every week. Okay.
And another person give a talk on Friday every week.
So 2 times, twice a week.
Yes, we meet twice a week, and we also celebrate Adyar Day, Foundation Day, White Lotus Day, special, when we have more people to participate.
Yeah.
Sudah jam 19 tepat, Pak Darmana.
Ya.
Mohon silakan dimulai ya.
Okay, let us begin. Brother Arnie,
Yes.
Theosophy Indonesia appreciate your willingness to talk about demystifying Patanjali. We are looking forward for this interesting topic, and we all thank you beforehand. Before we begin, let us say invocation or a prayer. Bring us from the unreal to the real. Bring us from darkness to light. bring us from death to eternal life. Okay, thank you. You can
Oh ya, terima
start.
kasih Pak Darmana. Terima
Thank you,
kasih
brother.
atas membawakan invokasi teosofi. Okay, Brother Arni, maybe we can start the event. You can bring your material and to us. Please take your time and place, and we can start. Okay. We please take your time and place, Brother Arni. We can start.
Good evening, everybody in
Ya,
Indonesia. And I bring
good
a
evening.
greeting from Blavatsky Lodge
Selamat,
in Mumbai.
ya. Selamat malam semua peserta dari Indonesia, orang warga teosofi. Ini adalah Brother Arni dari Mumbai. Okay.
The Blavatsky Lodge in Mumbai is the oldest lodge in the world.
Logi Teosofi Mumbai itu merupakan salah satu logi teosofi terbesar di India. Okay.
It was established by the founder H.P. Blavatsky and Olcott. They came to India to start.
Didirikan oleh pendiri teosofi Blavatsky dan Kolonel Olcott.
So with the greetings of my lodge, we started to talk on Patanjali.
Salam dari Logi Mumbai untuk membawakan materi tentang Patanjali.
In 1 hour, we can talk a little, so I give the main points.
Kita akan membicarakan hal tersebut dalam waktu 1 jam. Kemudian akan silakan para peserta bisa bertanya.
After maybe Johanna can share the PowerPoint with all of you to understand better.
Ini akan ditunjukkan, ditampilkan PowerPoint yang dibuat oleh Brother Arni, kemudian akan bisa dibaca oleh masing-masing peserta.
The name Patanjali is not one person. The name Patanjali is believed is a title to scholar.
Patanjali adalah lahir di India. Dia merupakan seorang bijak yang terselubung oleh misteri.
So there are Patanjali who wrote about grammar, about the medicine, but today we discuss about the Patanjali who wrote on yoga.
Patanjali membuat banyak karya, diantaranya seperti teks grammar, kemudian pengobatan. Tapi pada hari ini kita akan fokus pada ajaran yang di karya yoga yang dibuat oleh Patanjali.
The Hindu mythology believe he is the reincarnation of Shiva.
Dalam mitologi Hindu dipercaya bahwa Patanjali adalah reinkarnasi dari ular yang ada di leher Dewa Siwa.
He was also a teacher to Shankaracharya.
Dia juga merupakan salah satu guru dari seorang bijak yang bernama Shankaracharya.
And Shankaracharya is the most important Vedic scholar.
Shankaracharya merupakan salah satu orang terpenting yang salah satu tokoh cendekiawan di India.
I was fortunate to go to the crematorium of Patanjali.
Saya akan membawakan tentang ajaran dari Patanjali sendiri.
He is buried in a temple called Rameshwaram in South India.
Patanjali dikuburkan di kuil Rameshwaram di India Selatan yang didedikasikan untuk Dewa Siwa.
Yoga, the meaning of yoga in Sanskrit is union of body, mind, and soul to the eternal divine.
Yoga sendiri berarti adalah dalam bahasa Sanskerta adalah bersatu, menyatunya tubuh, pikiran dan jiwa ke dalam kehidupan abadi.
Sutra in Sanskrit means thread or garland.
Sutra sendiri, ya, oke. Sutra sendiri memiliki arti adalah benang merah dalam bahasa Sanskerta atau kebun bunga.
It is a garland of 196 aphorisms.
Di dalam bab 196.
And the most important of the yoga is the Raja Yoga.
Salah satu yoga yang terpenting yang akan kita bahas.
To attain knowledge in Raja Yoga,
can you repeat again, brother?
If one want to take knowledge of Raja Yoga.
Oh, ini adalah pengetahuan dari Raja Yoga, yoga tertinggi.
One important practice is Ashtanga.
Salah satu yang terpenting adalah Astanga Yoga.
Ashtanga means
Astanga berarti
8 limbs of the body of yogic knowledge.
Bagian tubuh yang kita akan praktekkan untuk istilahnya seperti yoga pada umumnya gitu. Yoga banyak metode yoga yang apa itu? Bentuk-bentuk yoga. Jadi melalui bentuk tubuh.
Yes,
ada
and
tekstur tubuhnya.
it is based on the Sankhya school of Hindu philosophy.
Didasari oleh pengajaran dari sekolah Samya dari sekolah filosofi Hindu.
I.K. Taimini, a theosophist, a professor, he called yoga science of yoga because it's a science.
Jadi yoga ini adalah oleh Profesor Tarmini sebagai ilmu pengetahuan yoga. Dan dikatakan yoga adalah sebuah ajaran yang agnostik.
And is also religion agnostic.
Ya, adalah pengajaran kepercayaan agnostik.
Now we go to the many aspects of yoga.
Oke. Mari saat ini kita akan lanjutkan ke berbagai macam bentuk yoga.
We told the 196 aphorism is the compendium of yoga.
Kita akan berbicara tentang berbagai macam bentuk yoga.
But if you read the first two aphorisms,
apabila Anda membaca berbagai macam ajaran yoga,
you can understand the entire philosophy of yoga.
Anda akan mengerti berbagai macam ajaran filosofi dari yoga.
The first aphorism,
yang pertama adalah
it starts very unusual.
Sangat tidak biasa pengajaran yoga tersebut.
Only one line.
Hanya satu baris.
Now, an exposition of yoga is being discussed. Just one line to start the entire book.
Eksposisi dari yoga akan kita explanation.
Yes. And the number 2 aphorism is also very important.
Yang kedua ini juga sangat-sangat penting sekali.
In Sanskrit, they say yoga chitta vritti nirodha.
Dalam bahasa Sanskerta adalah yoga sriti vritti nirodha.
The meaning is,
artinya adalah
stoppage of the modification of the mind and the worthies of the mind.
Adalah sebuah pengajaran tentang kebebasan pikir.
Because the mind is reflecting to images which are unnecessary.
Dan ini sangat menjadi bahan wajib pokok untuk pengajaran kepada para peserta.
So the mind is failing to respond to the actual truth.
Dan dibagi ke dalam 8 bentuk astanga.
So yoga will train one to see the truth.
Yoga melalui berbagai macam bentuk.
Yes, without any bias.
Ya, nanti akan kita bandingkan.
For this, we need to practice certain practices which are called Ashtanga.
Ada berbagai macam bentuk latihan dari yoga yang kita namakan adalah Astanga.
The first is called Yama.
Yang pertama kita namakan adalah Yama.
Which means action we should not do.
Yang berarti adalah melakukan perbuatan mana yang benar atau tidak.
The second is called Niyama.
Yang kedua adalah Niyama.
Action which we need to practice.
Merupakan salah satu bentuk latihan dari yoga tersebut.
The third is Asana.
Yang ketiga adalah Asana.
Is also called Hatha Yoga.
Yang dinamakan juga adalah Hatha Yoga.
This is what our sister Teresa Johanna is teaching.
Ya, ini yang diajarkan oleh sister kita Johanna, bentuk latihan dari bentuk-bentuk yoga, latihan tubuh.
The fourth is pranayama.
Yang keempat adalah pranayama.
Breathing is the most important aspect of life.
Merupakan pengaturan pernafasan, latihan pernafasan.
But pranayama teach you to regulate in a smooth breathing.
Pranayama mengajarkan kita untuk mengajarkan pengaturan pernafasan.
The fifth is pratyahara.
Yang kelima adalah pratyahara.
To draw our mind from the sensation, the 5 sensations.
Merupakan pengendalian dari sensasi-sensasi yang diperoleh panca indera.
Because once we are drawn to sensation, the mind cannot work for the truth.
Can you repeat again? Sorry.
When the mind is now attracted to senses, it cannot see the whole picture.
Yeah. Ketika pikiran itu kita tarik ke dalam, kita bisa melihat di dalam diri kita itu melihat berbagai macam gambaran seperti itu maksudnya. Okay.
The other aspect is dharana is important, which means contemplation.
Kemudian yang keenam adalah dharana, yang artinya adalah kontemplasi. Itu merupakan salah satu hal terpenting.
It's important to contemplate in our life on all matters.
Kita sangat membutuhkan namanya kontemplasi untuk memecahkan satu persoalan.
The seventh is dhyana, meditation, which you all know.
Yang ketujuh adalah dhyana, yang artinya adalah meditasi.
And through all these 7 previous practice, we reach the samadhi, blissful state.
Ketika kita memasuki ke dalam meditasi sampai tingkat samadhi, yang berarti adalah kebahagiaan tetap, tidak berubah, artinya ya ekstasi.
Now we will look into the yama of the practice, yama practice.
Saat ini kita akan melihat tentang yama, latihan dari yoga, perbuatan ya latihan dari yoga.
The first is important and is called ahimsa, non-violence.
Yang pertama adalah ahimsa, artinya tanpa kekerasan.
Mahatma Gandhi made non-violence a political weapon.
Mahatma Gandhi adalah seorang tokoh politik di India yang membawakan ajaran tersebut.
And the President Suharto practiced this all over the world through the Bandung Conference.
Dan oleh Presiden Soeharto membawakan ajaran ini pada waktu konferensi Afrika di Bandung.
The Bandung Conference is the first political initiative to bring ahimsa to the geography, to the place.
Pada waktu konferensi Afrika membawakan ajaran tersebut sebagai masukan dalam ide-ide pada waktu konferensi di Bandung.
The next is Satya, which means truthfulness.
Yang kemudian adalah Satya, yang berarti adalah kejujuran.
The third is non-stealing, which means we don't take possession of somebody property.
Yang kemudian adalah asetya, yang artinya tidak mencuri, yang kita tidak mengambil yang bukan hak dari milik kita atau hak orang lain.
Then it's also important mitahara, not to eat too much food.
Yang kemudian adalah mitahara, yang berarti adalah kita tidak berlebih-lebihan dalam makan makanan, tidak berlebihan.
Another is important sama. Sama means forgiveness.
Yang kemudian yang terpenting juga adalah sama, yang artinya adalah pengampunan, forgiveness.
And the last is daya, which is compassion.
Yang kemudian yang terakhir adalah daya, yang artinya adalah cinta kasih tanpa prasangka.
Now we will go to the niyama, which means the duty we have to follow.
Kemudian kita akan membicarakan tentang niyama, yang artinya adalah pengamatan atas perbuatan baik.
The first is purity of body, of mind, and of talk.
Yang pertama adalah sauca, pemurnian dari tubuh, pikiran, dan ucapan.
The second is santosha, which means contentment, to be happy with what we have.
Kemudian adalah santisa, yang merupakan konteks dari ucapan kita yang harus membawa kebahagiaan.
The third is tapas. Tapas meaning austerity, simplicity of life.
Kemudian adalah tapas, atau tapas adalah authority dalam dan ke meditasi yang konstan, tidak berubah.
Other important and very important is swadhyay, to study and to study the self, the mind, our activity, self introspection.
Kemudian adalah sadhyavaya, yang berarti adalah introspeksi diri, mempelajari diri, pengamatan terhadap diri sendiri.
And the final is Ishwar Pranidhana, which means attunement to the divine, whichever divine, maybe Allah, maybe Christ, maybe Krishna, maybe Buddha, anybody is divine. They're all quality of divine, to go in touch and contact.
Kemudian adalah Isvara Paradidana, yang artinya adalah penyelarasan kepada yang ilahi, bisa dalam bentuk Buddha, Kristus, atau Krishna, dan sebagainya macamnya.
So the book of Patanjali is divided in 4 chapters.
Di dalam buku karya Patanjali dibagi dalam 4 bab.
The first chapter is Samadhipada.
Yang bab pertama adalah Samadhipada.
As per the main content of Samadhipada is to practice meditation and also detachment, not to be attracted to anything too much. detachment.
Oke. Oleh para aspiran sadaka untuk berlatih melalui meditasi dan vaigraya itu artinya pelepasan dan abisa itu latihan dari bentuk astanga tersebut.
Even the Buddha was attached to not eating, to fasting, fasting. Even Buddha was attached to last
fasting.
minute to fasting, yeah.
Oke. Fasting itu dalam artian adalah puasa.
But after he saw one man feed another monk, he started to eat little and come back.
Ketika dia melihat Buddha, ketika melihat seorang biksu, dia berpikir tidak boleh berlebihan. Artinya berpuasa juga ada batasnya, segala sesuatu ada batasnya.
So the Buddhists call it the middle path.
Itu merupakan satu ajaran jalan tengah.
The whole purpose we told of yoga is union, oneness.
Kita berbicara mengenai yoga yang merupakan satu kesatuan.
Oneness of the body with the mind, with the soul.
Penyatuan dari tubuh, pikiran, dan jiwa.
So all our activity in life must progress towards this oneness.
Semua aktivitas kita harus menuju ke sana tujuannya.
More than a state of samadhi, we have another state called kaivalya.
What?
We
Can
have a
you
state
repeat again?
Yes, we have samadhi. We talked about it before, but above samadhi is kaivalya.
Oh, samadhi dalam bahasa Sanskerta adalah kayavalya, kesadaran murni.
Yes. Kaivalya state can come only if we finish our bad karma.
Kaivalya adalah salah satu bentuk penghancuran dari karma negatif, kesadaran murni.
And also to keep the mind like a clear water in a pond.
Kita bisa berpikir mengimajinasikan sebuah air dalam pikiran kita.
Samadhi is the entry to enlightenment.
Samadhi adalah jalan menuju pencerahan.
So we are now coming to chapter 2, Sadhana Pada.
Kemudian kita akan ke bab kedua yang berjudul adalah Sanada Pada.
The practice of yoga, and here yoga not only exercise of body, yoga means the practice of the philosophy of yoga is important for the mind.
Yoga merupakan salah satu aspek terpenting dalam pengolahan pikiran.
The state of oneness, as we told before, must be without any condition.
Kita telah membicarakan hal tersebut pada slide yang lalu tentang materi tersebut.
I take the example of Buddha because Buddha also reached the last state of nirvana.
Kita mengambil contoh Sang Buddha yang telah mencapai nirwana, pencerahan sejati.
But then his mind had one reservation.
What can you?
When he entered the nirvana, his mind think of one point.
One point. Oh ya, oke. Sang Buddha sendiri telah mencapai nirwana melalui metode samadhi tersebut.
What was that point?
Apa poinnya?
Is to serve humanity, to teach to humanity. So he come back.
Yang menjadi poinnya adalah kemanusiaan, mengajarkan tentang kemanusiaan.
So in a state of kaivalya, there is no doubt. There is a complete oneness.
Dan salah satunya adalah kaivalya menuju kesatuan.
Now the sadhana pada we continue. with the other aspect. In the yoga tradition,
dalam yoga tradisi yoga,
pain is not taken as negative.
Kita tidak mengenal namanya negatif.
Pain is said to be the purification of the soul.
Pikiran adalah pemurnian dari jiwa.
And to people who are open-minded,
masyarakat yang pikirannya terbuka,
the yogic student of yoga,
para yogi pertama berbicara mengenai yoga,
will treat pain and pleasure together.
Bersama-sama untuk mencapai kebahagiaan, kesenangan, pleasure.
This is not to say
ini tidak berhenti
that we should not avoid the pain. We should avoid pain.
Ya, kita harus hal-hal negatif tersebut harus kita hindari.
And we must make human effort towards trying to alleviate pain.
Dan kita harus mengeliminasi pikiran-pikiran negatif tersebut.
This human effort cannot be done by any guru or God. Human effort come from you and me.
Itu semua tidak kita capai dengan bantuan siapapun, dengan berbagai macam guru, tapi murni dari pengolahan diri kita sendiri.
So once you understand that we are the people who bring our own pain and own pleasure, then we take control and we try to act the right way.
Ketika kita bisa dapat membedakan mana yang benar dan salah, kita bisa mencapai hal tersebut.
Ignorance is always driven by ego. Ignorance is driven by ego.
Semua itu dipahami adalah kita menghilangkan ego pribadi kita.
Attachment is driven by ego.
Attachment adalah kemelekatan, itu terkait dengan ego pribadi kita.
Similarly, dislike or aversion is also driven by the ego.
Semua itu dipengaruhi oleh ego seseorang.
So one should be conscious of trying to regulate the ego in the right way.
Karena itu kita harus mampu mengendalikan ego kita untuk menuju jalan tersebut, jalan pencerahan.
Because without ego, the personality cannot function forward.
Karena ego sendiri tidak memiliki kesadaran murni.
But yoga teaches you to regulate your ego in a selfless way.
Dan yoga sendiri mengajarkan kita untuk mengendalikan ego tersebut.
Then there are certain gunas, which means certain qualities.
Semua itu akan ketika kita bisa melaksanakan jalan yoga, akan menimbulkan suatu kualitas atau kebajikan dalam diri kita.
There are 3 qualities of the mind.
Ada 3 kualitas dari pikiran.
I will tell in Sanskrit and explain in English.
Saya akan menjelaskan dalam bahasa Sanskerta, kemudian ke dalam bahasa Inggris.
The entire humanity.
Yang pertama adalah kemanusiaan.
Is made of mind.
Itu adalah satu bentuk pikiran.
And in each one of us.
Dan merupakan bagian dari diri kita.
There is a proportion of 3 aspects.
Ada proporsi dari 3 aspek.
The first is sattvic, which means very calm and quiet.
Yang pertama adalah saspik, yang merupakan ketenangan.
The second is called tamasic, which means very material, very worldly.
Yang kedua adalah what? Repeat again.
Tamasic is very active and pleasure of the world. Material.
Oh, oke, oke. Nah, yang kedua adalah tamasik yang berarti adalah pemilahan kata-kata yang baik yang dan tidak baik.
And the Rajasic is too forceful nature, forceful. Rajasic.
Tam- tamasik sendiri memiliki kata-kata itu suatu kekuatan.
All of us have different level of these three qualities. All of us.
Semua dari kita memiliki tingkatan tertentu.
Some people have more sattvic and less tamasic and less rajasic.
Beberapa orang bisa dalam bentuk tamasik yang kemudian yang kebagian yang lainnya.
The purpose of yoga and yogic training
Pengertian dari yoga adalah suatu pencapaian.
is to bring a balance of all the three qualities.
Dan semua itu tujuan akhirnya adalah sebuah keseimbangan.
We now go to the third chapter. It's called Vibhuti Pada.
Kemudian kita ke dalam chapter yang ketiga adalah Vibhuti Pada.
It is a state where you transcend the worldly consciousness.
Ini adalah suatu transformasi kesadaran.
This can come from realizing through dharana, which means contemplation.
Melalui satu bentuk yang dinamakan dharana, ya artinya adalah kontemplasi.
Dhyana is meditating on the right mind.
Dhyana sendiri merupakan satu bentuk meditasi.
What I mean by the right mind, the mind which is looking for the right goal.
Yang saya artikan adalah satu untuk mencapai kesatuan.
And the right goal is to eventually be in oneness with the divine.
Mencapai keilalian dan mencapai keilalian tersebut.
It is through this exercise of dharana and dhyana that one reaches the state of samadhi.
Ketika kita berlatih dharana dan samadhi, ke dharana itu akan menuju ke namanya samadhi.
In the samadhi state and the kaivalya state, we have different qualities again.
Samadhi adalah salah satu pencapaian dari kualitas dari pikiran.
The first thing for a man who does meditation, he gets some siddhi. Siddhi means some power.
Salah satu bentuk latihan dari ini adalah dipraktekkan oleh Sang Buddha sendiri yang akhirnya dia mendapatkan siddhi yang berarti adalah sebuah kekuatan.
But those students who's attached to the siddhi will not go further.
Tapi siddhi tersebut bukan merupakan satu tujuan utama, justru itu sebagai efek dari kita berlatih samadhi.
Madame Blavatsky also speaks in the secret doctrine.
Madame Blavatsky juga berbicara mengenai secret doctrine, doktrin rahasia.
That one should not be carried away by siddhis.
Tidak terikat oleh yang namanya siddhi. Menyimpulkan hal yang sama.
That is the reason Theosophy does not encourage Kundalini raising the Kundalini. The Theosophy does not encourage the student.
Ya, di Teosofi sendiri kita juga berbicara mengenai namanya kekuatan Kundalini.
This can sometimes damage somebody through wrong chemical reactions.
Yang terkadang itu malah membawa kerusakan bagi para praktisinya.
In the samadhi state, we have two stages.
Di dalam kondisi samadhi ada dua tingkatan.
The first state is a bliss state.
Yang tingkatan pertama adalah kebahagiaan.
The second, the bliss state with the awareness of the ego.
Yang kedua adalah penghilangan ego. Tidak ada ego.
But in the ultimate state, there is no ego, there is no I.
Pada tingkatan tertinggi tidak ada namanya diri kita dan ego. Jadi menghilang semua, menyatu.
So we now reach our journey of Kaivalya Pada, chapter 4.
Kemudian kita akan ke bab 4 yang berjudul Kaivalya Pada.
When we are born in this planet,
yang merupakan adalah pikiran yang terselubung dari pembebasan.
We are born with a pure mind.
Kita terpengaruh oleh pikiran kita sehari-hari.
This pure mind is a reflection of the divine.
Yang merupakan refleksi dari pikiran kita.
But as we grow,
tetapi kita bertumbuh,
the mind gets corrupted.
Pikiran sendiri terkadang terkorup, tercemar lah.
Through family situation,
berbagai macam kondisi, masalah keluarga,
through education,
pendidikan,
through your external environment,
lingkungan juga terpengaruh oleh lingkungan.
So yoga is trying to stop the corruption happening to the mind, to keep it pristine and clean.
Yoga sendiri merupakan salah satu latihan untuk membersihkan hal-hal tersebut.
So Kaivalya state is a state where these rishis and great yogis can reach.
Kaivalya sendiri adalah satu metode untuk pencapaian agar setiap para pertapa itu bisa mengontrol pikirannya.
So when we reach these states, when we reach the state of Kaivalya,
ya, jadi kita menggunakan metode Kaivalya.
There is no I.
Tidak ada diri kita.
The universe is one.
Dunia ini adalah satu.
And we are able to realize and experience unity.
Dan tiap masing-masing dari kita akan mempunyai suatu pengalaman ketika kita berlatih mempraktekkan tersebut.
Yes, I would like to end with Buddha's statement.
Saya akan menyampaikan kata-kata sang Buddha sendiri.
As we go closer and closer to Kaivalya state,
yang telah mencapai tingkatan Kaivalya.
Rifa, bangkunya beresin Rifa. Si Winda mau datang, beresin itu Kak.
Veil after veil keeps appearing. Or curtain after curtain, or veil after veil keep appearing.
Veil sendiri adalah sesuatu yang terselubung, yang tertutupi.
And beyond all this veil,
yang terselimuti oleh suatu terselubung lah.
The truth shall be found.
Yang akan kita temukan.
So I thank the Theosophical Society in Indonesia to excellent translation of Brother Benny. I'm very happy to listen to the language of Bahasa. It's very it's very sweet, like Sanskrit Bahasa Indonesian. It's good. I'm glad.
Okay, thank you, Brother Arni.
And I also thank my president, Kashmira of my lodge, who made all these slides for me. I thank her also.
Yes,
and,
yes.
To everybody,
maybe, brother.
Yes.
Maybe Brother Arni.
I can take questions. Yeah.
Yes, maybe if a participant or member want to ask you a question, we can open.
Please.
Open the question.
Yes, I'm open. You're welcome.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for that. Mbak Yo, mungkin ini bisa dibuka pertanyaan, Mbak Yo, mungkin.
Ya, silakan jika ada yang
bertanya. Ya.
Boleh menulis atau berbicara, tapi bahasa Indonesia boleh. Nanti bisa diterjemahkan dengan Pak Benny.
Okay. Can I ask you a question or some questions?
Yes, I shall try to answer as much as I know, brother.
You told in your talk that pain is purification. It's a kind of purification. Can you explain it further?
Blavatsky explains it very beautifully in the Secret Doctrine. She says, there is no light without darkness. But we are all afraid of darkness. The problem is, this is a two sides of a coin. And similarly, when we come to this world, the body or the mind of myself today is not new. Is over thousands of births and experiences. And some of these experiences must be karmically negative. So when do I try to destroy this negative karma? That is why we are all born here. So it's good purification because I finish the bad karma fast. I get enlightenment fast. So when you are, sometimes it's painful not to have my sugar in the coffee in the body. It's no sweet, it's bitter. But if I try to avoid maybe as much, it's good for me. It's a purification of my body. So it's a simple example I give. So as I said, nobody wants to invite pain and nobody wants to accept the pain. But if you're mentally prepared to accept is your own karma that you bring pain, then you can bring solution slowly. And we have to try in a human effort. Is also important that we should try to avoid pain. But do not think pain is going against the evolution. It's complementing the evolution. And we try to burn. I'm a practice of Paramhamsa Yogananda Kriya Yoga. They say that all the bad karma is the seeds of bad karma stay in our spine, and through meditation, through good attitude, to help, to be selfless, to be peaceful and compassionate, we try to burn the seeds of bad karma. Gradually, it burn and get purified. This is what I mean, brother.
Okay, thank you very much. One more question.
Anyway, sure.
You told about Astanga. It consists of Yama, Niyama, and the last is Samadhi.
Yeah.
The eighth is Samadhi.
Yes.
Have we, when we want progress, must we begin with Yama? Or how is that?
No. See that's this is not like a hack or a shelf. It's all together. See, for example, when we are student of Theosophy, we don't go step by step. We are trying to bring all these aspects of the qualities together, little by little. Maybe I practice less of yama and more of niyamas today, but after I grow a little more of less of niyamas, but more of yamas. So it's all together. The qualities that they are talking here is all together on the path. If you, because all our life, if you do only yama and we leave the other 7 quality, we cannot reach much. We need, so we need to take as much as we can from each of the ashtangas. Practice yoga. Your physical body exercise is important. As you grow old, for example, one can realize the energy is very small, very less. So yoga, physical yoga, which our Teresia sister teach in Indonesia, is important because the body is the channel of the vehicle of the mind, and the mind can be positive only if the body is positive. So this is practice, brother, not in one step after another step. It is practiced together. Thank you.
Okay. I want to translate it for the others.
Please.
Jadi Bapak ini bilang bahwa untuk Astanga Yoga yang terdiri dari Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, dan Samadhi itu tidak perlu eh, dimulai dari yama. Kalau yama sudah selesai, niyama dan sebagainya, tetapi katanya harus dilaksanakan bersama-sama. Semua bisa dilaksanakan bersama-sama. Walaupun kalau menurut saya tidak terlalu mudah, tapi itu adalah ajarannya beliau ya. Jadi kedelapan hal ini sampai dengan samadhi harus diusahakan dilakukan bersama-sama. Lalu maybe another question.
Very much, please. I'm happy. It's
Uh,
good for me.
You told about samadhi. Samadhi, you told that the observer and the observed is merged or is becoming one.
Yes.
I remember that Jiddu Krishnamurti also talked about this thing to become one
Yes.
between the observer and the observed.
Yes.
Yeah, Krishnamurti has certain things to
Yes.
to achieve this, but one thing is it cannot be achieved according to Jiddu Krishnamurti by by yeah by doing something but sometimes it is achieved suddenly. You can suddenly become one between the observer and the observed. Is that true?
I just want to share a good experience with you, brother. I grew up in Adyar, so Krishnamurti used to come there. I used to go for all his meeting when he was alive, and I used to also, I was young student at that time. Now, what Krishnamurti says, this flash moment or the Eureka moment happens to many of the gurus. If you read the story of Christ, if you read the story of Muhammad, even if you read the story of Buddha, these all happens at one point of time. But to come to that point, you need to make a lifelong persuasion of all these niyamas and the yogic practice. So it can come maybe in this lifetime, maybe it may not come this lifetime. Somebody is very good in their society, but they make much suffering. Why? It's because maybe the next life they have more easy. So Krishnamurti's sense of liberation, for your information, I can also share with you. Krishnamurti also learned yoga from a teacher called BKS Iyengar. He was a teacher near Adyar when he was young. He also learned yoga. He also practices yoga. In fact, Krishnamurti practiced yoga physically also. His thinking is a state of, I told you, the mind, chitta vritti nirodha. What the Krishnamurti says, do not take the mind the way you want. Let the mind see the truth. You, for example, I'm thinking that this brother who's speaking from there is maybe a Krishnamurti teacher student. So my mind immediately go that angle. But you may be not only the student of Krishnamurti, you may be student of many things. But my mind immediately imagine, oh, this brother is inspired by Krishnamurti. So Krishnamurti is very helpful for people who have already reached a level of consciousness. If the people have not reached that level of consciousness, they may misunderstand Krishnamurti also. So Krishnamurti is excellent inspiration for people who have reached a level of equanimity of the mind, a level of detachment. Krishnamurti was not carrying any money in his pocket when he traveled, because he says, I'm not attached to money. He was not traveling, but he had all the comforts of life. But we cannot do that. So Krishnamurti's the observer is actually true. Krishnamurti is talking what Ramana Maharishi is telling. Ramana Maharishi also is saying the same thing. I told you this when the Kaivalya state reaches, there is no me, you, Beni, Teresa. No, it's a state of universal consciousness. So Krishnamurti is talking this can happen in a flash, but this flash can only happen when you work for it. Thank you, brother.
Okay, let me translate it for the others.
Yes.
Saya menanyakan tadi yang dikatakan tadi di samadhi adalah yang mengamati dan yang diamati menjadi satu. Ya, saya menanyakan, nah itu juga dikatakan oleh Krishnamurti. Dan Krishnamurti juga mengatakan bahwa itu bisa dicapai secara spontan, ya, tidak perlu banyak usaha dan sebagainya, tapi secara spontan itu bisa dicapai. Yang dikatakan oleh Bapak ini adalah Eureka Moment, yaitu saat Eureka atau saat ya saat gembira atau saat bahagia. Beliau menjelaskan bahwa Krishnamurti itu berbicara untuk orang-orang yang sudah mencapai suatu kesadaran tertentu. Nah, untuk mereka itu memang bisa tercapai. Tetapi pada umumnya memang kita harus melewati yang dikatakan tadi lewat 8 jalan itu, yama dan sebagainya. Ya, jadi itu memang harus dilewati. Tapi Krishnamurti memang berbicara untuk kelompok yang sudah mencapai sebuah tingkat kesadaran tertentu di mana mereka bisa tiba-tiba mendapatkan secara spontan yaitu sebuah pencerahan, katakan ya, yang mengamati dan yang diamati menjadi satu. Itu penjelasan dari beliau tadi. Iya, mungkin ada pertanyaan lain.
Mohon izin saya tanya.
Silakan.
Oke, terima kasih pada moderator yang sudah memberikan waktu. Selamat malam, Om Swastiastu untuk semuanya.
Selamat malam.
Ya, terima kasih kepada Brother Master yang tadi sudah panjang lebar menyampaikan hal-hal yang penting, pembelajaran yang sangat bagus, tapi saya banyak yang tidak mudeng. Namun demikian pada intinya pembelajaran yang bagus ini, karena ini untuk kita sebagai manusia, ini sebenarnya tujuan endingnya, akhirnya dari pembelajaran ini apa yang hendak dicapai. Kalau kaitannya dengan kesadaran, saya mau izin tanya, kesadaran seperti apakah yang hendak dicapai? Karena ada tingkatan-tingkatan kesadaran secara teoritis ada, tapi yang perlu saya tanyakan, kesadaran yang seperti apa yang hendak dicapai? Tujuan pembelajaran si Buddha ini apa begitu? Itu yang pertama. Yang kedua adalah bagaimana ciri-ciri orang yang sudah mendapatkan pencerahan. Itu ciri-cirinya. Nah, bagi kita sendiri, seperti apa sih pencerahan itu yang sebenarnya? Itu pertanyaan yang kedua. Yang ketiga adalah tadi juga disampaikan tatkala kita sudah mampu membedakan antara yang baik dan yang buruk itu kita pada tingkatan apa tadi saya lupa begitu. Nah, kemudian yang perlu saya tanyakan, kebaikan yang seperti apa yang sebenarnya dikehendaki? Sebab kadang-kadang orang berbuat baik tetapi dinilai tidak baik. Nah, baik ukurannya seperti apa? Begitu aja dulu pertanyaan saya. Mungkin ada yang menerjemahkan. Terima kasih.
Pak Darmana minta untuk menerjemahkan kepada.
Ya,
Sepertinya Pak Beni sedang dipanggil ayahnya. Pak Darmana.
ya baik. There was a question.
Yes.
And he asked, what is the end of this teaching of this? You teach about you teach about Patanjali and etc. etc. What is the end of this teaching? Are you? What is the end of the conscious you want to reach with this teaching?
Okay.
What is your final
state?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a very interesting and deep question. Now, sometimes when we think that we have to climb Mount Everest, is the biggest mountain, we say, oh, we cannot climb Mount Everest. It's impossible. It's similar with the philosophy of all religion. They teach you the path and the final ultimate experience. But the idea is not to reach for everybody the ultimate experience, is to follow the path. Once you follow the path, you enjoy every moment of the progress on the path. That itself is the ultimate for us in our life. For example, in the life of Krishnamurti, he must have achieved some degree of consciousness. In the state of Ramana Maharishi, he must have reached some consciousness state. So all these people who have taught this experience is what they gain. But the thing is, for people like us, like you and me, the first important is to become aware that life is not only this body. Life is 7 planes, like Yosemite teach, and we need to feed all the 7 planes together. So how do you feel the soul? How do you feed the soul? You feed the soul through meditation, through your satsangas, through your effort in the right direction. Because the soul is not like the body the body also requires the right kind of food. Similarly, the soul and the mind require the right kind of food for them. So it's the aim ultimately is not to reach we should try, of course. As you said, the Eureka movement may come to somebody very fast because he's on the path. But for some people who are on the path for many lifetime, he's still struggling. So it's karmic background, the karmic luggage. We call in India, we carry karmic luggage with us in every life. Some people carry more, some people carry less. But in this lifetime, can we stop making bad karma? Is the aim, is the goal. Like my teacher used to tell me, do not look at the goal, look at the process on the path that you go and enjoy every bit of the process. The goal will come or may not come, it's spontaneous. So if you are looking at the Himalayan mountain, Everest, it's difficult for me. But maybe I climb a small little mountain in Indonesia, a small mountain, I don't know the name. Or maybe in India also a small mountain I climb. So Everest is for how many people? Maybe 100 people reach Everest in the whole humanity. So Samadhi state and Kaivalya state also is like that. But then the whole purpose is to go on the right path, which takes us to the ultimate, maybe not this lifetime, but some other lifetime. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Jadi dari Bapak tadi jawabnya adalah seolah-olah kita menaiki atau memanjat Gunung Everest. Gunung Everest adalah gunung tertinggi di dunia. Nah, tidak mudah untuk mencapai puncaknya. Kita akan mencapai puncaknya, katakan setelah berkali-kali atau ratusan kali atau ribuan kali. Itu hanya sebuah perumpamaan. Perumpamaan ini disamakan dengan kehidupan kita. Kita akhirnya juga akan mencapai puncak asal kita mulai dengan menyadari diri kita, ya, merasakan jiwa bahwa jiwa itu beda dengan badan dan memang jalannya panjang. Karena apa? Karena karma yang kita sudah buat dalam hidup ini atau hidup yang lalu, anjurannya usahakan berhenti membuat karma yang jelek di hidup ini atau paling tidak mengurangi. Dan berbahagialah dengan kerugian, dengan kemajuan yang telah kita capai. Walaupun dalam hidup ini kita ya biasa-biasa saja kalau kita bandingkan dengan orang-orang yang lebih maju, ya kita harus tetap bersenang dengan kemajuan yang telah kita capai. Oke, sudah. Saya akan ke pertanyaan kedua atau ketiga. Ciri-ciri dari orang yang mencapai puncak. What are the aspects of people who has already uh, climbed the mountain or are on the top of the mountain? That's the second question.
It is said one cannot describe the state of Kaivalya. It can only be experienced, not explained. So that's what all the great gurus say. So the first stage in the mind is to understand intellectually. But beyond this experience of samadhi is not intellectual. This experience of samadhi is in a higher state of consciousness, in the atmic state, Buddhic state. So one cannot explain the state of samadhi, but from people who have experienced and written about it, it is a state which is beyond the description and the human experience.
Oke, I will translate it.
Yeah,
Untuk ciri-ciri dari orang yang mencapai puncak, sebenarnya apa yang dialami orang itu tidak bisa dideskripsikan dengan pikiran atau dengan kata-kata atau dengan tulisan. Itu yang dikatakan. Lalu pertanyaan berikut adalah membedakan baik dan buruk. Iya, pertanyaannya coba diulang lagi.
Ya, untuk kita kan selalu berbuat baik untuk mencapai kebaikan itu. Nah, yang dimaksud kebaikan yang absolut itu yang seperti apa? Sebab kadang-kadang kita merasa sudah berbuat baik, tetapi penilaian orang lain, oh itu tidak baik, begitu loh Pak Darmana. Jadi kebaikan seperti apa yang harus kita laksanakan? Sesuai aturan siapa yang harus kita laksanakan? Seperti apa? Begitu Pak Darmana.
Okay. There is a question. The next question is, what is good and what is bad?
Yeah.
It's a very simple answer by Blavatsky. Madame Blavatsky, anything which you do for self, she says, cannot be good. Anything which you do for the others is good. That's her explanation. But how far we can practice is difficult. She gave her life for other people. She left a good home and traveled in dangerous places to understand the wisdom, and she was selfless. So she says any act which is benefiting many people, not one. If I do something which only benefits me and not my family or my friend or my office, is no good, because it is driven by selfishness. So any act which is not selfish is good in a very broad category.
Oke, thank you. Jadi tadi membedakan antara baik dan buruk, Ibu Blavatsky mengatakan semua yang dilakukan untuk diri itu buruk, dan semua yang dilakukan untuk orang lain adalah baik. Tetapi seandainya Anda melakukan sesuatu untuk orang lain, tetapi dengan alasan atau pemikiran untuk diri sendiri, itu juga buruk. Ya, jadi ada orang melakukan sesuatu bagi orang lain supaya dia mendapatkan pahala, supaya dia mendapatkan balasan, maka itu adalah buruk. Jadi antara baik dan buruk menurut Bapak ini tidak terlalu sulit untuk dibedakan. Yang dilakukan untuk diri adalah buruk, untuk yang dilakukan untuk orang lain ya adalah baik. Oke, ada pertanyaan lain?
Ada ini dari Pak siapa? Muhammad Amin, apakah berkenan bertanya langsung atau mau dibacakan? Pak Muhammad Amin ini. Selamat malam, Pak Muhammad Amin.
Ya, Bu.
Ya, silakan mau bertanya langsung atau bagaimana, Mas? Ini ya.
Dibacakan aja, Bu. Dibacakan.
Oh, ya, baik. Ya, Pak Darmana bisa dibantu untuk menerjemahkan kepada Brother Arni.
Iya. Silakan. Saya tidak tahu apa yang ditanyakan.
Iya, ini Mr. Ani Narendran, to reach Samadhi is related with consciousness. Can you give? Ini Pak Darmana di chat ini, Pak Darmana. Bisa terbaca?
Bentar. Belum.
Pak Muhammad Amin langsung aja ya, coba ya.
Di chat ya?
Iya, di chat ini dibaca.
Juga. Mana? Ami. To reach Samadhi, is it related with consciousness? Waduh.
Yes, brother, can you?
Yeah, there is a chat.
Okay.
To reach Samadhi,
yes,
is it related with consciousness? Can you give a simple to practice to reach Samadhi? Thank you.
Okay. There are two interesting answers. One answer you gave when Krishnamurti says it happens in a flash. Okay, that's one thing that can happen to Mr. Muhammad if he's working on the path. But the path for all of us, which is called self-realization. The path of self-realization is first to understand the universal truths, not the individual truths. If I think only of my own imagery, it will not work, because I'm not an island. I'm connected with the universe, linked to the universe. So to practice Samadhi, the path of Patanjali Yoga Sutra is important. It's important because they've given you all the condition which we should practice. They've given you condition which you should not practice. So that, and number one, as far as I have never experienced Samadhi, so I cannot tell you what state it is. But my Guru Paramahansa Yogananda, he talks about the Samadhi state. In the samadhi state, he says, there is, I told you, there is no division of humanity, of anything. It's a state of one, it's an experience, not a state, it's an experience which can be explained only by the people who can experience it. It's a state where you do not feel the division of the world as separate. You feel one with the universe. The universe is you. I am that. That am I is the short description of samadhi state. But as far as I know, I know whom I meet in my life. Only one teacher who tells me he experienced this state, but he did not tell me what the experience it is. So I cannot say what experience it is. But to reach that state, you need to. He's asking the word consciousness. The word consciousness here means awareness. Awareness of what? Awareness of not me, of my body. No. Awareness of the universal truth. So how can we reach the awareness of the universal truth? Is by following the Patanjali pathway of yamas, niyamas, and practice of dhyana and meditation. This is my short answer, Mohammed.
Oke, thank you. Jadi Bapak Muhammad Amin, kesadaran yang dimaksud pada waktu samadhi adalah menyadari dirinya sendiri, self realization. Itu begitu saya menangkapnya ya, mungkin salah, tapi dia mengatakan adalah yang perlu adalah menyadari dirinya sendiri dan menyadari yaitu kebenaran universal, kebenaran semesta, kebenaran universal. Dan tingkat samadhi ini ditandai dengan tidak ada pembedaan, tidak ada lagi perbedaan antara diri dan yang lain. Itu adalah aku adalah itu. Itu yang dikatakan tadi. Ini adalah semacam kesadaran dunia, kesadaran semesta. Ya, kesadaran mengenai kebenaran universal. Nah, ini mungkin ya tidak terlalu mudah untuk dipahami, tapi tadi waktu saya bertanya memang itu yang dinamakan samadhi itu tidak, yang mencapai samadhi itu sulit untuk dijelaskan atau dituliskan atau dikatakan. Ini adalah suatu keadaan yang perlu katakan ya, kalau kita mau bilang dirasakan juga salah nanti, tapi ini adalah suatu keadaan di atas semua, di atas apa yang bisa dilukiskan dengan kata-kata. Oke, mungkin ada yang lain?
Also, Brother Mohammed, I went to Turkey. There I see that many of the Sufis in Turkey are they talk of this samadhi state, trance state, through their practice of, they're called darwishes, and Jalaluddin Rumi, if you read his books and this experience, is an Islamic samadhi state, is this Sufi state of bliss.
Iya. Beliau juga mengatakan bahwa di Islam, yaitu di Sufi, di Turki, mereka juga membahas mengenai keadaan atau kesadaran samadhi yang dinamakan sebagai, dikatakan sebagai bliss. Bliss itu apa ya? Bliss itu ya saya kurang sekarang nggak bisa mengingat, tapi saya tahu. Tapi jadi itu di Islam juga dibahas, terutama di Sufi di Turki, mengenai keadaan samadhi, ya, keadaan samadhi, tapi dia menggunakan kata-kata yang beda, ya, tapi maksudnya adalah sama. Oke, ada yang lain?
Ya, silahkan yang lain. Mungkin satu pertanyaan lagi atau dua terakhir ya.
Satu pertanyaan mungkin.
Ya, silahkan Pak Yan.
Jadi begini, yang kaitannya dengan sampai tingkatan samadhi tadi, apakah itu yang kalau dalam bahasa kita, apakah orang yang sudah mencapai kebahagiaan itu? Ini yang saya maksud. Kalau sulit dilukiskan, sulit dituliskan, itu kan sebenarnya kan orang yang bahagia itu yang seperti apa toh? Kan begitu kan juga susah gitu. Sehingga dalam hal ini apakah seperti itu, karena apalagi ini tadi nyangkut di Islam. Islam itu sekarang ini baik itu yang mengaku dirinya Islam sudah menyimpang dari ajarannya, dari buku induknya, begitu loh. Oke, itu apa seperti itu samadhi itu apakah orang yang sudah tentram ataukah orang yang sudah bahagia? Begitu, Master Matur nuwun. Thank you.
Okay. Last question is,
Yes.
is samadhi a state of happiness?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, it's a state of happiness. Yeah.
Thank you.
Or bliss. There is a word, bliss, P-L-I-S-S, bliss.
Yeah. But I forgot the Indonesian.
Okay.
Ya, but jadi dia bilang samadhi itu bisa dikatakan sejenis kebahagiaan, sejenis tingkat kebahagiaan. Tapi sepertinya kebahagiaan yang tidak bisa dilukiskan dengan kata-kata. Ya. Oke. Bagaimana, Yohana?
Jika sudah boleh ditutup, dibantu tutup sekalian ya Pak Darmana. Monggo silahkan Pak Darmana dengan afirmasi asatoma mungkin ya, kalian ditutup ya Pak Darmana.
Okay. We will end this meeting.
Okay, thank you for a wonderful translation,
Okay.
brother.
Will,
and to Benny also, and to Johanna for calling me.
I will read some itu. Asotoma Sategamai. Tamasoma Yutir Kamai. Mirtyoma Amrita Kamai. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. It's been
Thank
wonderful
you.
to be with
Thank
you.
you, Mr. Arni.
Yes.
Nice to
Thank
meet
you Pak
you.
Darmana. Terima kasih untuk semuanya.
Terima kasih
Ya,
semuanya.
selamat
Thank you, Mr. Arni.
Selamat.
Nice to
Yeah.
meet you.
Yeah.
Halo Pak Yanto.
Yeah. Goodbye, Benny. Yeah.
Goodbye. Nice to meet you, Mr. Arni.
Welcome to Mumbai. Welcome to Mumbai.
Okay.
We take
Welcome to Indonesia too.
Thank you, sir. So goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Halo
Ya,
Pak
satu,
Yanto.
dua, tiga. Saya tutup ya.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Oke.
Bye.